So welcome to Bitcoin Core App Design Call number 85. Still can't believe we're at 85. As usual, we have our notes document, and I'll share the link to that one again. Thank you all for joining today. There are a couple of things I put in here, which are some of the PRs that are in progress, but I think I captured the active ones, at least ones that I saw conversations around. Then Jakob's create wallet flow. And then I also wanted to draw attention to, on the core app documents, we have this current design tasks link that takes us to the roadmap. It doesn't clearly show in my background, it's cut off, but in there you can see the active GitHub issue design tasks, one's in progress, who's working on what. And in there we have the Lottie animations, assume UTXO, data directory, section research that Mo's working on, and create wallet that Jakob's working on. So we also have this, we call it roadmap, I guess, here on GitHub. What else would you like to chat about?
I added the roadmap also to the research roadmap as well to the top of the one that we, yeah. And that's it.
Cool. Anyone has anything urgent they'd like to talk about? Anyone who wants to kick off with their topic? Mellow group today.
Just cruising through.
Okay. Well, then let's just get to it. So, is everyone keeping up with what's going on with the data directory stuff?
I've been reading up after or prior to the call, so I'm aware of what it's about.
Yeah. So there was one thing about showing error messages when you pick a directory and it just doesn't have enough space. I created these designs here, just simple error messages. There are two versions. If you wanted to give feedback on that one, I think they're just different UIs. Either the element itself shows the error or the form as a whole complains that you did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like something we just have to think about for all of our forms and inputs, that we know how to deal with that. We have a system there. The second part is, it's a little bit more complex. That's where, so right now we let you pick a directory during onboarding, and then afterwards the node starts and all the blocks get stored in that directory. That's simple, right? But let's say you want to change it later. If you want to change it later and you choose a new directory in the application, it should actually move all the blocks over to that new directory, right? And that's where it gets a bit complicated. It would have to stop the node, move all the files over, and restart the node.
Mm-hmm.
The current Qt doesn't do that. It just, you basically can't change it in the UI. You have to close the application, go to your Bitcoin config file, change it there, restart the application. And because Pablo and I had a bunch of conversations around it, and summarizing it, Jakob, from my best understanding so far, with lots of input from Pablo, is that we should kind of keep it simple, that we just keep the behavior as it is now, and then in the future we enhance it. So basically, onboarding, you can pick your data directory. Afterwards, the UI just kind of lets you open it, but doesn't let you change it anymore. You still have to go the manual route. And then a potential feature version 2 would be the more convenient route. And that's to keep our MVP really MVP-ish and simple.
MVP-ish sounds good.
Pablo, does that sound about right?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. So one thing on the last comment on the 397 PR about the screens with the error. I think in my previous comment I said, after you choose the data tier, the next screen, the next screen you choose if you want the compact or the the smallest
Yes.
storage. So you have to put the error there, not here, because at this point you don't know if you want the full node or
That is true. We don't know yet how much needs to be stored, so we can't tell you if it's enough or
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Let me take a note in the. Let's- Okay, cool. Sounds good. We'll adjust it. Otherwise, do you feel like you have everything for the data directory stuff?
Sorry, second.
Do you feel like you have everything you need for the data directory stuff? Anything you wanted to talk about there?
No. It's fine. We had some discussions as well yesterday on the devs side, and I think it's fine as you resume on the summarized on your um, PR as well on your issue.
Cool.
It's fine. I think it's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a good place to write down these decisions and this logic somewhere as well, so we don't have to kind of wonder at a later stage if when we will inevitably at some point come back to this, and we'll wonder why we
Yeah.
made these decisions. I'm thinking it should go in the design docs. It's a good place for it. I'm just trying to capture
Yeah.
that. So
As soon
I'll
as
try to do that in a follow up.
yeah, it's good to have like links from one place to like from the dev side to the designer side as well, right? Just in case, like we do when on your side when I posted things about current Qt, just in case,
Yeah. Oh, hey, real quick, Ogena or Daniel, try rejoining. Sometimes Jitsi, the audio doesn't work and you have to rejoin. Hopefully that works for you. Just refresh the browser and it should work. Or app if you use it. Yeah, Pablo, you have a very good point. We don't necessarily have to copy and reformat all this text and put it in the design docs. We could link to important decisions were made here and here and here, and then just link out
yeah,
to the relevant comments in GitHub.
yeah, and works for both sides, right? Because sometimes if something is not clear for us, or oh, I remember Christoph said this here, so please go there and check the designer's decisions or whatever. So it works for both devs and designers.
Yeah. Thanks for translating my comment into text. Obviously, he couldn't hear me if he says he can't hear anyone. Hopefully, it works now. Okay. Okay, cool. Is that good? Good with data directory stuff? Cool. Jakob,
I
you
think
want
only
to?
one,
Yeah, go ahead.
maybe only one comment on error messages in general. I think it usually helps to have them kind of closely associated with the element that causes the error or the problem if we can. So I would probably always put the error messages right next to the or in the element, unless we cannot tell, and it's really a kind of a general error. Then it's kind of an have it on the screen somewhere
Yep.
on a consistent place.
Yep. Good point. Okay, now everyone can hear everyone. Jakob, do you want to talk about the create wallet flow then?
Yeah, thanks, Mike and Christoph. We were iterating a bit on the most problematic parts of the design. Yeah, I implemented some ideas based on your feedback. They still need to be polished a bit. Should I share it now?
Yeah,
Yes. There are a few problems which are not. There are a few like questions, especially around like labeling and just choosing. The most problematic part is where and how should we communicate if the user should be able, if the which of the key, if the user wants one of the key to be stored locally, and then if we should allow it for like how should we communicate or where should we allow it. So this is the main kind of still open question, but let me share.
Okay. And one question is this, so this is the Crate wallet flow that you're trying to set up, and this is for multi-sig specifically.
Yeah. This is for adding keys.
So the user already picked, they said, I want to create a wallet. Do you want to create single sig, multi-sig, whatever? And they picked multi-sig.
Yeah, so I have a prototype here, I think. So they picked a multi-sig, they named the wallet, and then this would be like the first, that's the current version, this would be the first screen of adding keys. Since it's a multi-sig, there are already like two keys to be added, but user can click to add more. Then there's Christoph suggested to make it, to add some key visual here, so it's a bit more more understandable, quickly understandable for user that this is the key. Then the one open question is, and this is also a good question to all you guys. Let user adds key, and then how we can differentiate if it's a locally stored key or an external key, and if it's an external key, I guess we can only show it as a XPub, right? Like there's no easy way to show it's I don't know, hardware wallet or any type of indication, because we only can insert, basically paste XPub. Is there some kind of in descriptors or some kind of other way we can kind of identify that this key is, I don't know, on an external signing device? Then we could show a separate icon. That's open question.
Do you want an answer now or a conversation, or do you want to continue?
No, I'll continue, and then at the end I can show. So the user can add one key, and this is one idea, to just have this secondary button to generate a new key. So the user can just add XPub, label it, or they can click generate new key. Then there's short info that this will be stored locally on this device in the wallet file. But they still can add a label, which I assume will be useful for creating transactions later. And the call to action is generate and add key one. And yeah, I added here a label, local, and then if there'll be more keys that we can label it external. But that's a bit heavy visually, so yeah, I would still be inclined to show it as in an icon, maybe if it can be somehow.
Sorry, Jakob, the screen's black for me, and Pablo says it's the same for him.
Yeah, it's also black for me. I'm on the Figma file.
Sorry.
You're very privacy conscious. That's good. But in this case, we might need to see your screen.
You should scream earlier.
You can see.
Okay, do you see now? Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this is the first key screen. User can add key one, and then there's this secondary button to generate new key locally. Yeah, I think the copy here is also quite important. I don't know if we should add like local word here, and also another question is if user generates a new key here, and labels it and adds it, right? So this is the local key. My assumption is only one key can be local, right? Because that would be, because we cannot, there's no like easy way. There's a lot of problems in creating two local keys because that would be two separate wallet files, I assume. So then whenever user adds another key, that button to generate new key would not be visible. That would just add key. But here the user can then paste xpub. Just add watch only or xpub and add it, or yeah, on the first key they can also generate a new key. But this is quite problematic, because if they add an xpub, then the question is on the second key. On the second key, if still this button should be there, right? Until the user doesn't generate a new key, should this option be always available? This is a kind of struggle. I also don't know how, like, kind of how it works in the backend logic, how difficult this may be in the backend logic. Maybe it's trivial. Yeah. So one question is, there are like three questions, I guess. Should we allow to generate a local key only as only for one key, right? So should we allow users to generate only one key? The second part is, could there be like checks on the screens of adding every key if the local key is already added or not, and depending on that we show that option or not. And last question is, can we know anything more about the keys except if they're local or external or just xpubs? Can we know more about the keys that we can show somehow here in the key list?
Yeah, so, sorry, I was trying to write that down. So, can we have more than one local key? Can we connect to external signers? And what was the other one?
Like if we decide to allow to generate a new key on this screen, when the user just can just paste xpub, but there's additional option to generate a new key. Can it be easily done in a way that on the further keys, on the adding further keys, second, third, fourth, the UI somehow knows if the user added local key or not, and then depending on that we show that option or not. And that is with the assumption a user can have only one local key, right?
Okay, and this is for the version 1 that you are showing of your...
Yeah, there are two more, but I think this, like, at least with Michael, we kind of iterated it down to this version. The other one was, but I also don't like it really. It's just a toggle, yeah, which would, I don't know if it's possible, like auto generate just and show xpub here, but that also doesn't solve the problem that if that toggle should be on every screen. And the third one was, and this was also nice, but yeah, so when the user adds first key, there could be the option to insert xpub or generate a new key.
Yeah, here it comes down probably to the same question, right? If we know if the app knows whether or not let's say I've added key 1, I imported an xpub, and then I try to add key 2. If the app knows that I used for key 1, I used an xpub, then the option should probably be there. But if I already created a new key, then you would skip that option or that screen entirely, right? So that, I mean, that's yeah.
Yeah, but the board, I don't know how to say. Like, the problem is if the user doesn't want to generate a new key, then that screen would happen every time they click insert key, right? And that would be kind of slow down
Exactly.
the flow a bit. So it's not.
It's okay to slow down in these things, you know. It's an important decisions being made.
I don't think I heard the word key that many times in like 5 minutes. My brain is completely scrambled. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So Pablo had a comment here. From the code, we can now identify if the key is local. So I still feel like we have kind of a terminology thing going on here. So I mean, in a way, you're not adding keys; you're adding xpubs, which are not keys, directly keys. I mean, they're like they're extended public keys, right? But they're not the private keys. So the private key is really the one where you just want to have one locally, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's kind of pointless, the whole thing. And then I'm hoping that we could connect to external signers. If we could put that in the design. I'm not exactly sure what the development process is. Just the HWI project where you use some external scripts to connect to hardware wallets. I don't know if that can be pulled into the application at some point ever. Maybe you can have it, maybe not. I don't know. That would be a cool thing to do, to have, and that would add a third option here. Yeah, I feel like it's almost like you're creating a key or you're importing one. Because when you create when you bring in an xpub, it's more like you're linking to some other wallet, right? You're not actually putting the key in this application. It's more like you're linking it to a wallet you have somewhere else. I don't know. I'm just trying to think if we can pare down the technical language and just come with some simple things like either your key is in here or the wallet's connected to some other wallet or the key somewhere else and you're just linking to it or something like that. I don't have the solution off the top of my head, but I feel like there might be some simpler terminology somewhere in this.
I'm leaning into that idea as well because, prior to contributing to this project, I wouldn't know what an XPub is. And I think if this interface is going to be made for people who are new to this as well, then XPub is not going to be terminology that they're going to be familiar with.
Well, it's one of those things, right? Where in the buttons or the headline, you probably want simple terms, but then when you're describing what you're actually doing on the screen, it can be okay to add some of the more technical terms. Right?
Yeah.
You're linking something, and then when you're doing the linking activity, it can tell you, well, it's just like you're uploading a file, very easy. But then when you're doing the file upload, it tells you we support JPEGs up to 500 megabyte or something like that. The button isn't called upload JPEGs up to 500 megabyte, right? It's just called upload a file.
Yeah.
And then the details, they come in when you're focused on the single activity. Yeah, I'd love to spend some time with this one and digest it a little bit and provide feedback.
Cool. But it still doesn't, I mean, even if we simplify the terminology, I think the basic question was here whether we allowed to create multiple or one or at all new, let's say, private keys and let them be used in this, or not, or just one, or not at all. So that. I think that's the
Yeah, 0 or 1.
main issue.
Two makes no sense. I mean, that's pointless in terms of privacy. I mean, I guess some people would be comfortable with more. It's more like Shamir's secret sharing approach, where one person creates all the information and then distributes it. But I think best practices would be if you don't do that, if the keys are generated in different places. Maybe it could be under some, like, are you sure you want to do this? Only do this if you know what you're doing. Type of toggling. So.
Right, and if we kind of go further, if we say, okay, we actually will never want to have more than one of these kind of newly created private keys, then it also is probably not a good idea to put the decision kind of very much in the face of the user, right? Because you wanted that was, I think, option 3 in Jakub's prototype, which is the easiest to understand, I think, based on the terminology. But we actually don't want, to guide the user through this screen each time, right? So because we actually want them to, at maximum, create one new private key and use it in this wallet. So probably that option of creating a new key should be kind of more subtle and just kind of be there for people who really want it, and then it should be there, kind of the backend or the app should keep track of whether it should be there or not, but we don't want to give it as much kind of space or prominency.
Yeah, on the other hand, if we add, I mean, if we add the hardware, adding hardware keys here, then this makes more sense to, because the hardware and just pasting XPub would be kind of equal. So we would still need this kind of choice, and then the generate new key could be just the last on the bottom. And I think then it's fine if it's like, if it's just neutral in a way, we don't downplay it.
Does anyone know if hardware wallets if we can support that? How much work it is? Maybe someone on the technical side.
Say that again. Which kind of wallet?
The hardware wallet external signer integration.
I haven't worked much with that, so I'm not an expert here, but I will try to get some opinions on the dev side. So if you go back to the previous screen, the add keys, and the previous one to this one,
there's no previous. I mean, previous is just picking a name.
Okay, it's not that you said, okay, I want a multi-sig wallet or something. Multi-key. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Isn't the problem with the hardware, like adding hardware flow, isn't the problem that like each of these wallets have a bit different, different.
Let me find out from the tech side. Let me find out. I'll let you know.
Isn't the problem is that they have a different formats, like in Sparrow, you basically choose wallet and there's like 10 hardware wallets to choose, and then the problem is we would need to, like the Bitcoin Core would need to maintain those, those different kind of connectors, right? I think.
Well, if you look at the link that I shared, let me see who created this one. There's already in Bitcoin, there's an HWI project, and that is it's basically a bunch of scripts, I think, Python scripts, library that you run locally, and that already basically connects hardware devices that you've plugged in some way to the Bitcoin Core. So that centerpiece kind of exists already. Now, I have no idea if this can be easily just kind of imported into Bitcoin Core app UI and then it just kind of magically works. Probably not. But I guess the question is then, do we? I mean, I guess the question is anyone planning on bringing this into the app or not? If so,
Yeah,
what would be the process? And if not, then do we have any, will we ever have it in any way?
okay, let me, this, the link that you just sent, this is maintained by one of the devs, the core devs here, the maintainer, um, Ada. So maybe I can ask her to, if it's possible to join next call, maybe. Let me study a bit, and if she can join and explain something, 10 minutes at least. I don't know what
Yeah.
you think.
Yeah, or even yeah, that sounds great. Or even just a question, if there's kind of any
Yeah.
outlook of bringing this into the main repo, or just kind of if it would be possible to have it in the app, that would be
My
awesome.
assumption is because it's kind of dependent on this third-party software. That's the reason why it's outside of main repo, and I
Yeah.
think it will not be added to the main repo. But maybe we can somehow even, I don't know, like we can have maybe a fork of our of the GUI that works with it, right? Somehow that user can easily install. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to me too. I don't quite get it because we have a lot of third-party dependencies already, so it doesn't seem like this wallet interface should be any different. It seems like it should be technically possible to fix this, and it'll be good to hear from the core devs why it isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if that's simply not a reality, then we have to decide. Okay, there are two ways. There's some ways it can work out. Either it can be brought in, and we're going to have this awesome multi-external signer interface in the app. Would be awesome. Then another version is that we cannot bring it in, but we can still build a UI for it. But it means that the user would have to run these scripts separately. And then the application kind of somehow connects to that, like some other local server or whatever, right? And that would only be for hobbyists or developers or people who are comfortable running Python scripts and stuff. And then the third one is like, we're just not going to have it.
Maybe it's easier just not to have it in MVP one. Just keep it simple.
Oh, for MVP, it's not going to be there for sure.
Yeah.
I think maybe even for launch, this would probably not be there, unless someone has. But I don't know. I guess that's something to sort out on the technical side. But if we're trying to keep it simple, probably not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, I think what you could do is maybe like have the kind of the pasting of the XPub as the primary action, and then have maybe in the, I don't know, not the design docs, but somewhere kind of a tutorial for the different devices how to get to that XPub, to kind of that at least the user has a reference point, or maybe there is something on the web already. How do I export my XPub to so that maybe it's not in the app, it's just kind of a standalone maybe website that it's also easier to maintain if something changes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So let me take a note here in the call notes. Check with the core devs about integrating Okay, cool.
There's also a problem. I mean, if it's kept separately, and let's say in a year or two our GUI is merged, then the scripts are probably used only in console, right? It's not like they change UI and like in the UI you can add wallets, right? The scripts probably just worked if you create multisig in a console. So I guess that's not the problem.
Yeah, I
Never
don't
mind.
know. I guess maybe we should design for it, because if we design for it, there's more incentive to actually build it. I don't know. Someone might get motivated by it. It's like, oh, we need to do this too because it's already in the design. Probably no one probably cares, but that's okay. Okay, cool. Great wallet flow. We have about 20 minutes left. Anything else on that one? As for, like I said, for me personally, I need to look at some of this stuff more closely, and then we'll probably provide feedback in Figma.
So I've seen their plan for just testing those
Yeah,
flows.
I'd like to dive into that if we finish this good topic.
But Mo, I think the more relevant for you to test is single sig wallet creation,
Yeah,
because this is
exactly,
multi sig. So
exactly.
single sig is more relevant for our
For the
immediate.
immediate,
Uh,
yeah, exactly. Is it okay to dive into the research? Um, so Christoph and I just had a quick chat. I think it was early last week. Um, if you know if a live version at some point will be brought out to the public, it's important to ensure the quality of the live version. And so we came up with the idea of testing both prototypes as well as designs that have already been implemented. And so we came up with this. I'll share it very briefly. What we call this research plan or roadmap or whatever, you can call it anything. But basically, there would be testing of the designs. Then there would be testing after the designs have been implemented, and then there would be testing of everything, you know, complete user flows end to end. And then the test would be done on both new users and existing users. And then it's pretty much split into the milestones. So the create wallet, and then the send and receive. And then there's different sprints. So they pretty much would be 8 sprints in total, like mini sprints. You don't have to call them that. But under each sprint, the prototype is created, it's tested, it's shared with the team, and then the testing is documented. So ideally, we'd have all of these boxes looking nice and green, and then we know that we've done thorough testing before it's been launched, and then all of the testing will feed back into frequently asked questions, motivating people into why to run a node, incentivizing, like creating, documentation around that, as well as walk through documents and onboarding of new and existing users, and frequently asked questions. So at the moment, I'd love to start testing, the create wallet flow, um, single sig, to be more specific. I think I should edit this. Um, I think Jakob's design received some feedback from Christoph. Um, I'm going to share this tab instead here. I think is this visible?
yep.
Yep.
So this is the create wallet flow, which was created by Jakob. And then I jumped into the document. I know Christoph added in some comments. So I just basically made like 2 small tweaks to the design based on the comments from Christoph. And then this is the prototype from Jakob. Yeah, so I'm just wondering if it's the Christoph made a comment about the wallet file here and the location. So I removed that location and I just left it like this. And then basically that's it. It's done. It's like 6 screens in total. So yeah, if that's ready for testing, I'm happy to get going with that next week, and then start to fill in some green boxes in this execution part, which is the most important part, execution.
Yeah, and just to add something, so the idea was basically, since we know exactly we don't know the timelines yet, but we know exactly what needs to be built. We have our design milestones. We know in what order probably most likely things will happen. Why not just figure out all of the research sprints, put them on a timeline, plan them out, and then just do them. So we don't have to like keep thinking about, well, when are we gonna test this and what are we going to test? Like we can just figure it all out and then just do it, just roll with it. And now Mo has these awesome 8 different sprints, and then it should be easier to just recruit people on the people to help test and people to test on, I guess. And then we also know when we design, we know, okay, we're going to test this. I need to put a prototype together.
And then it's I think I'm just going to share the screen again. If we've tested it, then we know, it's green, so it's done, and then we can feel relatively safe that and it's the same with after it's being implemented, if it's being tested. So right now, it seemed to me that the single sig flow was the most complete. So yeah, if it feels complete to the rest, I'm happy to start testing and getting in front of some people next week.
Yeah, the only addition I could think would be that you also include the initial onboarding.
Okay.
So people have because in the onboarding we have a new screen that talks about the wallet features. And that way the user's already kind of primed.
Yeah.
For this, and you have to do a little bit of less explanation.
Yeah, I wanted to add the same. At least screen before should be added, but I even wonder if even before, like basically putting user with a syncing wall, not a syncing, just before, like basically the running node screen without a wallet, or what's actually before so the user actually has to manually click like create new wallet, even before, right? Because that's actually the beginning of the flow.
So I need to get the onboarding screens, which are here. I'm in Jakob's file right now, but I think the onboarding screens are not, the finalized onboarding screens they're live already, but I think the designs, I should be able to find them.
Yeah, I can help you update things. We don't have to do it on this call.
Yeah, all right. I'll try to get that together by the end of the week then.
Mo is going to test single key. I'm just putting it a note.
Yeah.
Christoph to help with prototype prep. Okay, cool. We have anything more on this one? Does that sound like a solid plan? Feel free to take a look at it, give feedback later, leave comments. And Mo, have you shared this?
Yeah, I have shared it in the Discord channel, but I'll share the link here again. And then ideally, there's links within that. So every single prototype that we tested, I'll create prototypes in a separate new file so that there's new files for every prototype.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that on that side. And then should we share a bit also about the case study as well?
Yeah, sounds good. Can I just say one thing about if you have more comments on the animations?
I took a look at them actually. I think yesterday or the day before yesterday. I really like how they look. They're super smooth. They're really nice, the animations. I don't know if anyone else has had a chance to look at them as well.
Yeah, leave more comments. I really want to wrap them up. I worked today a bunch on the Node one. I had to kind of rebuild it to do some silly After Effects stuff. But I really want to wrap those up, export them, and get them tested. Make sure they work. So please leave your thoughts. I'll share the link. And then Johnny, I don't know what the best way to go about it is. I can send the Lottie files directly to you, maybe. I don't know. Or
yeah, we could do that. Yeah, I'll test them out. See if they work.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, and then to Mo's point, we are working on this case study for the. It's been like months in the works now.
It just really needs to
Okay, how about I'll pull it up real quick. I'll talk through it. Here's the file. So the point here is to have a case study page in the Bitcoin Design Guide. We have case studies, and sometimes they are about a certain project that was done. There's a case study about page joins and research and how to design for it, the different things. But we also think this is such an important project with such a unique background and goals, and it's truly open source and it's Bitcoin Core and all this stuff. We should have a case study for it. But it's also kind of tricky to write it because of all the complexities that go into it. And so just trying to write this from a design community perspective in a way. And I'll just talk through it real quick, what kind of the points are. First of all is, at the beginning, the header shows the original UI. Actually, I went back and found like 10 screenshots from the different UIs that came out. There's a small screenshot. This is version 0.1, I think. And then, it shows you the original one, the OG one, and then the new desktop version of the node, and then the new mobile version, and one in light mode, one in dark mode, showing you from what we're starting with and what we're changing to. And then it talks a little bit about the context, that Core maintains this foundational software, and that this is pretty much the biggest UI overhaul ever done for this project. And it's both on the technical side and on the user experience side. Then I was thinking we could have this little gallery here where we show some of the different versions over the years and how they've changed, to give more context, why Bitcoin Core is so important, because I think a lot of people don't realize that. Then goals of this specific design, not of Bitcoin Core, but of this specific design project. So nodes on mobile, add new wallet features, implement best practices, also make it more useful tool for the pro users and developers, and create a solid design foundation and a public blueprint. The technical side here is less emphasized, but that's described in here also as important to switch from Qt to QML. That comes a little bit later, but it does speak a little bit more to the UX and design side because it'll be in the design guide. Then it talks about nodes on mobile, why nodes are important, enforce consensus, all this stuff. Bringing it to mobile, Android, 3.5 billion users. Some of the stuff about the block clock, switching from Qt widgets to QML, one being a standardized library of UI components, the other one being a very customizable framework that allows you to do much more stuff. That the first version is kind of built and people can test it. Then it goes into the wallet features, how lots of stuff has been added, multi-key, external signers, output descriptors, silent payments, all the stuff. And the new UI should allow for that stuff to be more easily implemented, which should then help drive adoption and help users, Bitcoin better, and that this is being worked on. Then a note about the expert and the developer features that goes into stuff like the Bitcoin Conf conversation, and also, bringing in, having a log in there and some useful dev features. And then the whole point about making the whole process easier for designers, having a solid design foundation, having design documentation, blowing this process wide open, making it public, like having a public blueprint for this whole application. And then it goes a bit into the process, talks first about how Bitcoin Core process is unique. It's not like a linear thing, but like all kinds of stuff just kind of happens. And then it gives examples of some of the research we're done and some of the design work that's going on, all this stuff. And then it says, thank you, next steps, thanks all the contributors. Just a quick summary, and then, please check it out and chip in if you'd like. So that was kind of the rundown of this page. And, everyone, just leave feedback if it's totally off, anything you'd like to add, remove, whatever, it's all good. This is kind of I think Mo and I, is this kind of our best stab at it?
I don't know. I feel like we can, this has moved and pivoted. I started with a document, then I pivoted, and then it pivoted again, and it's now literally pivoted for the fourth time. And I still remember that in the initial conversation when I shared my initial draft, it was like, no, let's make this shorter, and now it's like 19 pages long. It feels like it's such a meaty story that it's difficult to keep this story short because there's just been so many things that's being done, and I don't think we're going to be able to get it much shorter. I feel like it's good as it is, but I think just reading through it one more time, getting at least one or two more people's eyes, not our eyes, on it would be good. Because I feel like our noses are too deep in the subject to be able to step back from it. So it would be nice for just even one or two of you just to jump in and comment and just, as people said, just give it a bit of a read and a feel. Yeah,
Yeah, and
would be.
it's very tricky to try to frame this in just the right way. This whole project and initiative and everything.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
feel like, yeah.
This looks awesome, guys. I haven't tried it yet, so I'll jump in, leave some comments. Also, keep in mind that the story's not over. Maybe there's another chapter. We don't know what lies ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
how about
So,
we just add 10 pages of lorem ipsum at the bottom and says this will be replaced in the future.
yeah. That's such a nice human photo at the end. Jakob and myself at the conference, just spamming people, asking them to speak to us. That was fun. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think,
it is meant to be kind of a snapshot in time,
yeah.
but I think the basic stuff about the history, what's unique about this application and the project and the context and the process, I think that will not change.
So, do you have a moment to talk about book? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was us at the conference. Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like if at least one person just gives a bit of a read, and then we for me, I need to step away from the content for a bit and then reread it and then, you know, look at it again. Always helps. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it
Sorry,
would be
is this document that you just shared is something that you are going to present in some conference or
We might. I mean, you never
well.
know, but
okay?
it's more for the Bitcoin design guide. And I think it's
Yeah,
also
yeah,
nice for anyone, any one of you, open developers working on the project. You can also just show this because it shows a nice story. And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
conference or an event or a meetup, you can just, show them this link and show it on the screen, like this is what we did, and this is the thought behind the behind the whole redesign.
Next OpenSats application.
Yes.
Yeah, no, there are multiple points to this. One is, so this will go into case studies, and I shared a link for the wallet scrutiny case study. It's great for designers new to the space or general interest in open source to kind of understand how these things can work.
Hmm.
It's great for the design community to show some of the work that's been done, to really highlight the design work and how things went and what the goals were and all of this stuff. So yeah, and all kind of positives to this, I think.
Yeah, it looks very nice. Yeah, yeah. But this is the document, right? Is there like presented somewhere, like in a web page or something?
That's the next
No.
step. Once we're so
Okay, okay.
Google Docs are great for collaborative writing, and you can share the
Yeah.
link. People just type stuff and comment. And once we're cool
Yeah.
with it, then it's going to go into GitHub, and it'll be a page like the one behind me, and it'll go live on the Bitcoin Design website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, just said as Jacob said, like something that is alive, right? It's maybe something that's, I don't know, to be continued at the end or something like I don't know. There is this um, case study, but at the same time, it's live, right? And
Yeah. To be continued for a long time.
Yeah, it does say here in the document too, for where is it? For version 1 for the node, this first version was finalized in early 2023 and folks blah blah blah. For the wallet features, this says this is very actively being worked on as of April 2024. We could have a link that says check out here, for the roadmap or whatever. And yeah, it is a good thing to add it at the end, especially because we want people to help test it. We want people to give feedback. We don't know exactly how it's going to go. And it talks a little bit here at the bottom. There's still open questions, how this new code base will make it into the main one. It affects code reviews, build systems. So it ends a little bit with a note about how there's still a lot of stuff to be sorted out. And then we can say, like, come and help us, make it go smoother. To be continued. Or it's being continued. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're on the hour. Was there anything else to chat about?
No, I was just about to say I think, Mo mentioned that it's going, it's getting longer again, but still, I just, read through it. And it's still not that I have the feeling that it's too much text, right? You're linking out to the things that should be somewhere else, and then there's not kind of a single, huge wall of text mostly. So there are just a couple short sentences and then kind of an illustrative image. So I think it reads quite well, and I wouldn't worry too much about
the length, right? Yeah.
About the length.
I feel like
at
the
this
text,
point.
the copy is broken up really nicely with the images. There's a really good balance. It's not like there's a page of text and then an image, So
Exactly.
it's nice.
Yeah,
and I think, yeah.
And that's more. So when we were writing, that's a decision we made. We have all of those design docs. We have all these links. We don't need to put all this stuff in here. We can just link out to things.
Yeah.
No need to duplicate it all.
Yeah, I feel like I'll look at maybe the copy. If there's some people drop in some comments, we can look at the copy again later this week, and then maybe next week start thinking about getting something live, ish. Yeah.
Deal. So leave your feedback on everything, on Create Wallet, on the prototypes, on this thing. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So we should we wrap it up or anything else?
Wrap it up. To be continued.
Exactly. Cool. Then I'll stop the recording real quick. Thanks for anyone tuning in all the way to the end here.